Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I will be talking about my auto-by-authors. So this is another old video that I did probably 4 years ago, and I thought it would finally be time to update it or do a new version. So I'm just going to be talking about all of my auto-by-authors. This list has definitely changed, and there are authors that I still really love and probably would read and buy everything that they write, but I don't consider them like a one-click author. Like, I really would think about it more. For example, I love Abby Glines, but I'm not including her in this new list because I am behind on a lot of her books, and a lot of the ones I have read recently from her I haven't loved that much. So it's not to say that I've grown out of her books or anything like that, but it's just like a lot of her recent books have been misses for me. So it's making me more hesitant to consider her an auto-by-author, even though I absolutely love her and her books. Some authors I am repeating because I still do feel like they are auto-by-authors for me. To me, when I think of auto-by-authors, I think of authors that I wouldn't hesitate to buy any of their books. Like, I would read anything that they write. To me, it would be such a normal and easy thing to just buy their book. Like, I wouldn't have to second guess myself. A lot of the authors that I'm going to mention that I now consider auto-by-authors are also authors that I read most of their work, if not all of them. So I'm pretty confident to say that they are my auto-by-authors. But I also feel like this list probably would change in the next 5 years again as well. I don't like using the word growing out of something, but I feel like your tastes change as you get older and you discover more what you love and don't love in books, and sometimes authors have a very specific way of writing and a specific way of storytelling that maybe you're over it, or maybe you're just too used to it, if that makes sense. And I feel like a lot of the old authors that I love definitely keep writing the same thing over and over again, and it does get a little tiring, even though I still love them and I still love that formula. It's just, you can't keep reading it over and over and over again constantly because you're gonna get sick of it. I just now have different auto-by-authors. There's authors out there that I love a little bit more, or that I just feel like all of their books work for me. I have about 10 authors that I'm going to be talking about today, so let's just get into all of my auto-by-authors. Also, these are in no particular order, but the one I'm starting with is Coreriley. I think it's been 2 years that I've been reading Coreriley's books. There's just something about her characters or the world that she builds that I really love. I own almost all of her books, and I have read pretty much all of them except for 2, I think. I will continue to read her books. I don't even think about it. Like, to me, it's just like, oh, Coreriley's coming out with a new book. Yeah, I'll pre-order it. Like, I don't even think about it. I also don't even have to know what the book is about. I know I'm gonna read it, and I know I'm probably gonna love it. She writes a lot of dark mafia romances, and I absolutely love them. I definitely would be curious to see her write like just a normal contemporary, but I'm obsessed with her characters and her couples and the world that she creates. It's just so good. I don't know. Another auto-by-author for me is Jennifer L Armentrout. She was an author I mentioned in the first video, and she continues to be a auto-by-author for me. I absolutely love her books. I've pretty much read all of her books except for maybe like 4 or 5. The funny thing is that I know everybody loves From Blood and Ash. Everybody's like loving that series and obsessed with it. I have yet to continue the second book. I am really scared because I didn't love the first book. I found it very confusing, and I just didn't really get it. And I have the second book, but I just haven't read it yet because I'm scared. Even though I love JLA's new stuff, I also just have such a huge love for like her older stuff, like Obsidian, and like her romance titles that she released under J. Lynn. Yeah, I love JLA, and I will continue to read her books. I will eventually catch up on her newer stuff, but she's definitely an auto-by-author for me. Another one that I mentioned in the first video as well is Lauren Lane. I really love Lauren Lane, and I don't see this ever changing, to be honest. Her Sex, Love, and Stiletto series will always be one of my favorites. I'm definitely at this point with her books where I don't even think about it. Like, I don't even think about what Lauren Lane's books are about. I just know I'm gonna buy it. Like, she has a new one coming out at the end of this month. I don't even know what it's about. but I'm buying it. I pre-ordered it already. I've read pretty much all of her books and have loved them, so she is completely an auto-buy author for me. Another one that I mentioned in the first video as well is Katie Evans. I have read all of Katie Evans's books except for one. She has one Harlequin title that I haven't read yet, but I've read everything else and I have loved them all. She's definitely one of my favorite authors and I will continue to read her books. I hope that she comes out with a new book soon because it's been a while. I really love the whole Real series and I also love the spin-off Racer. Those are probably my favorites. I also do love her Man Horse series. She's a fantastic author and I really love her characters and the romances that she writes. I can't wait to read more from her in the future whenever she comes out with new books. The next one is Helen Hunting. I've read all of Helen Hunting's books except for her Clipped Wings series. That is the only one I haven't read yet, but I've read everything else and loved them. This is one of my favorite books by her. I also really love Good Luck Charm and All In. Those are like my top three, I would say. But I just really enjoy her books. I really enjoy her characters. She writes a lot of hockey romances, which I love. And she's just become an author that I continue to buy from with no hesitation. The next one I am so surprised I never mentioned in the first video, and that is Sylvain Rennard. I have read all of their books and I love them. I absolutely love all of their books. Gabriel's Inferno is definitely my favorite from them. The whole series I really, really love. They haven't released that many books, but I do see myself continuing to read their books. I really hope they come out with something new soon because I just really want to read more from them. My next auto-buy author is obviously K.A. Tucker. I have read all of her books except for two. Her newest one and Say You Still Love Me. Those are the two I haven't read yet, but I've read everything else and I have pretty much loved all of her books. Obviously The Simple Wild is my favorite, but I also really love Keep Her Safe and One Tiny Lie. Those are like my top two other ones. I feel like it took me years to finally pick up her books and binge them all, and I'm very glad that I did because I absolutely love her writing and her characters. She's an author that I will continue to buy from. The next one is an author that I have really loved for the past 3 years, and that is Abby Jimenez. I read The Friend Zone back in 2019 and I was amazed. I absolutely loved this book. It was so good. And then I read her release last year, the Happy Ever After playlist, which I liked. I didn't love it as much as this one, but I still really liked it. And then I read her release this year, Life's Too Short, and I also really loved it. There's just something about the way that she writes her characters and the romances that I really, really enjoy. I'm very picky when it comes to traditionally published romances. Sometimes I feel like they don't have enough actual romance. However, I feel like Abby Jimenez really just makes sure that the romance is there and very important. I feel like so far her books have centered more around the romance and the characters than an actual plot, which I personally love. I mean, there's still a plot, like there's still a good amount of plot. I just feel like the romance is very prominent and I absolutely love that, and I cannot wait to read anything else that she puts out in the future. I have two more authors. So the next one is J. Daniels. I also mentioned her in my first video as well, and I have since then read all of her books. Her Alabama Summer series is definitely my favorite, but I have enjoyed her more traditionally published romances. She's another author where I just really love her characters and the romances that she writes. They're definitely not anything super different, but I feel like they really work, and I just really love how she writes a lot of founded families and just great friend groups. I guess she's just one of my favorite authors, to be honest. And the last auto-buy author for me is Melanie Harlow. The sad thing is I haven't read all of Melanie Harlow's books yet. I have read a majority of them, but there's definitely a decent amount that I haven't read yet. This is my favorite book by Melanie Harlow, Call Me Crazy. I also really love her Cloverleaf Farms series. The second book, Undeniable, is my favorite out of that series. She has quickly become an author that I really want to read everything by. I'm slowly going through all of her books, but I feel confident in saying she's an auto-buy author for me, especially her newer stuff. I definitely don't hesitate to buy any of that. I love her romances. I love her characters. I love the world that she creates. I love the families that she writes about, and I love how her books always have more than one trope. They always have like a great mix of a bunch of romance tropes that I love, and she just makes it work. And I feel like she's very great at mixing a sweet, heartfelt, cute romance with a little bit more of an emotional, heavy side. I absolutely have loved her newer books, and I can't wait to continue reading her old stuff and whatever she releases in the future. So those were all my current auto-buy authors. Let me know who your auto-buy authors are. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, follow me on all my other social media, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!